This is Kate. She lives for Canary Yellow, hates long sleeves, and loves a sale. But you knew that because you use Klaviyo. The email.
Why is there an ad on my Lofi Girl stream? Okay. Sorry about that. That's what I get for waiting till the last second to put it up. Okay. Alright. Okay. How is everyone doing today? I hope Okusen is still here. Oh, I have so many. Okay. Now I just gotta let everybody know that the stream is live. Okay. Letting people know that the stream is live. Also, I hope I put the right link on that. Did I put the right link on that? Yeah, I put the right link on that. Okay. Okay. So might be having a stream without Silva tonight because Silva says that they're feeling tired. I have been in this really weird place mentally. Would help if I booted up my model. I always do this where like I will start getting set up before it's time to stream. then I'll get distracted by something, and I would just be getting things ready as I'm supposed to start streaming. It happens without fail. And it's why I'm glad I set this time where like I get downstairs at 7 o'clock. Stream starts at 8:30, so that gives me time to faff about and to just deal with other stuff and prep for stream and all that stuff. Okay. Alrighty. So it's funny, it looks like, oh, let me switch over to my just chatting screen. I know some people like to leave it on starting soon until there's enough people in there, in chat, for them to like want to start streaming. But I've never been one of those to do that. Like, I'll leave it on starting soon while I'm actually getting started. Once I'm actually ready to start it, I'll jump over to the just chatting screen. Okay. I also find it funny that even though Okusen was in the pre-stream chat, Okusen's the copy pasta is still in the chat. That's really funny. Oh. Oh, that my brother just sent me something on YouTube, on Facebook. What did my brother just send me? Is this a trailer for a video game? This looks like some kind of concert of some kind. That's weird. I'll look at it later. Let's try to stay on task here. At least try kind of to stay on task. So it's the start of the week. And just like any other week, it's got its ups and its downs and its challenges. Originally, I was supposed to go with my friend to a card game shop to play some Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. But like, I was just exhausted. Like, I didn't realize how stressed out I was. Like, you don't think about how stressed out you are until like you relax and then all that stress just hits you at once. And I thought I was doing really good. And then I took a shower and washed my hair and brushed my teeth and, you know, your standard grooming stuff. And then I did that. And as soon as I did that, it just all hit me. And I was just super tired. I was just super tired and ready to pass out. And also, when it gets really rainy and chilly, I just want to sleep. Like, this fall weather makes me want to curl up under a warm blanket and sleep the day away. But I got stuff I gotta do. So over the weekend, I was working on my first assignment for my for Sapphire's character creation course that I'm in, and that was really exciting. I'm not gonna give the details because, like, it's a paid course, so I don't want to be giving out details of what was going on in the course. But it was just really interesting and intense, and it was challenging doing homework again. having an assignment I had to complete and having to assemble my thoughts in this, because for a long time I've been just kind of free roaming. Like whenever I put down thoughts on paper, it was always this like not random but very free form thing. So doing something where there's a regimented pattern that has to be followed in order for the assignment to be accepted was an interesting challenge. It was definitely an interesting challenge. And it took me like the first assignment took me like 5 hours to do. I think I started at like 2 p.m. and I finished around 7 p.m. I started a little after 2 and I finished a little after 7. So that was an exciting weekend. It's also fun because it's another thing to think about, another creative outlet. And I want to make sure I'm on the up and up, and I want to keep moving because it's like, unlike an actual like college course, this online course is move at your own pace. There's not like a time limit on it. But I still want to maintain some kind of time limit for myself to make sure I'm completing it in a timely manner. I think for right now, my goal is to complete each section at least within a week. Just to keep it moving. The skills that I gain going through the course, I'm of course going to be referring back to and using on other projects moving forward. But to get the initial assignments done and to get through the material, I want to make sure I keep moving. Yeah. But I was just so sleepy today, and like, so the whole thing with going to the card shop, right? I didn't really want to go. Honest answer, I didn't really want to go. But my friend wanted to go. My roommate wanted to go. And I wanted to go with him to go for him. So that way he could have a chance to get out the house and have this great experience. And I was on board when he was on board, but then when he asked me this morning, he was like, "You don't want to go, do you?" And something about the way he said it, I got this like subconscious feeling that like he didn't want to go, and it was kind of freeing for me because it was like, well, if he doesn't want to go, then I don't have to pretend that I want to go. And what he wanted was to play Yu-Gi-Oh at the house, and we never really got around to that. But it's not like either one of us is going anywhere. So, that's also kind of a haughty thing to say because anything can happen in life. Like life situations can change on a dime, you know. Like take for instance this is my first stream without Silva here. In a while. Normally Silva's at least lurking in the background. My training wheels are off. But as for like I've been also working a lot on my RPG Maker stuff. I'm working on my first dungeon. And I'm trying to work on game balance. But like all of the starter enemies that they give you, even with the full database, with like a couple exceptions, are decent challenges for like level 1 to level 5 characters. And I made a dungeon because so my plan is, so the default game has you start, or an RPG Maker has you starting with 4 characters. And then when you get the full database, the full database has 8 characters, 1 for each class. And then, but you can only have 4 in combat at a time. So after you get your 5th one, you can then, hey Nekomaji. So then after you get your 5th character, you can change your formation in the menu, which that's cool. So originally my idea was to have the characters finding the other 4 members of their party as they traveled, and then that gives the player the freedom to grind with and level up with and play with whatever characters they want. And that's whatever. But when I'm running through my first dungeon with the 4 starter characters, they can clear the dungeon very easily, but like you don't want your first dungeon to be really hard because players are going to be getting used to the controls and the mechanics. I'm debating trying to make a tutorial cutscene to explain the different abilities, because right now I have designed no explanation for the players whatsoever. And that's not really conducive to good gameplay. You normally want to ease your players into the new mechanics. That's also true Civil. FromSoft games do start off hard though. That is also true. How are you doing today, Civil? Yeah, if it's too handholdy, some people will get annoyed. So then, since it's gonna be like the whole thing with my RPG Maker project is my first game is gonna be not really intended for release. It's gonna be just me getting used to the mechanics and the steps of like making a complete game, beginning, middle, end. Hey, living the dream, scarfing down some garlic bread. That's good. Is it homemade garlic bread or did you get some from the store? It was handmade at the store. Yes, the best kind. That's the best kind. I remember when I was growing up, there was this priest who, whenever there was a potluck, he would go to Publix and pick up their lemon pepper rotisserie chicken, and he would bring it in a container like he made it himself, and he'd be like, see, I made lemon pepper chicken, and people be like, yes, Father, yes, Publix makes great lemon pepper rotisserie chicken, because they all knew that what he was doing. But yeah, that's just what that reminded me of. But yeah, it's funny. So like I'm charging all my electronics now because tomorrow at the place I live, the power is going to be out while they're doing some maintenance on the power grid. So I have to remember to unplug everything tonight in case there's a power surge when all the power goes out and when the power comes back on. But I'm gonna be without internet for my computer. No power means no router. I'll have internet on my phone, but it'll be like getting blasted back to the Stone Age. Thankfully, by like hey, it's no problem, Civil. I'm always glad to answer that. Um, so I have a few projects that I'm currently working on right now. I'm in the process of writing a novel, which is what I'm going to be working on tonight. We're over 15,000 words into the novel. Well, at least the first draft of it. We're going to be working on that tonight. I'll give a quick rundown of the story in a little bit whenever we get to that section. Yeah, something like that, Nekomaji. Also, one of my viewers, Okusen, who did the copy pasta in the beginning before stream started, donated in order to buy me a copy of RPG Maker. So I am working on making a game, but right now I have a two-step plan with that. I'm making my first game with RPG Maker is going to be extremely short, very simplistic, using the default database. And well, not the default, but the full database. But yeah, not going to be messing with any plugins, and it's just going to be, beginning, middle, end kind of game. And I'm going to be working on that on stream and off stream. And then after I finish that, once I finish that, whatever I'm going to call that test game, in order to learn the ropes of RPG Maker, I'm planning to work on a larger project that'll be longer, more complex, more complicated. And I want to tell some kind of like a sci-fi space opera story, but I still have to look for assets and stuff that'll be really good for that, and just get a feel for, I think, well, Okusen, because you said something about YouTube shutting down instead of letting you do the copy pasta, it kind of gave away that it was a copy pasta. But yeah, so I have a two-game plan where my first game No, it's fine, Okusen. It's perfectly fine. I'm just glad you're here. I'm glad. But yeah, 15K words has been an adventure. And as far as a visual novel, like right now, I'm just trying to get to the novel side of it. Like, not to like discredit visual novels. Those are powerful mediums, but I have absolutely no experience, nothing to pull from, no background in writing for a visual novel or what that's supposed to look like. I have no artistic capabilities and I have no funds with which to hire artists. So like it's going to be a struggle just editing my transcript once I get done with my first draft in order to move from my first draft to my second draft. And so yeah, I'm sorry if that disappoints you, Civil, but making a visual novel. Okay, Nekomaji, okay. Yo, no, it's perfectly fine, Civil. I welcome the questions. I'm always glad to have new people. I'm always glad to have new people. How did you find my stream? Did someone recommend you, or did you just happen upon my tweet or something? I'm always curious how people happen upon my stream. Yes, make it you buy, but appear say so. Yes, that's exactly how that works. I think the harder, like, besides just not having. Well, I'm glad I popped up on your search for VTuber. I definitely don't sound like a 12-year-old Asian girl. That is most definitely true. You know, it's funny. I was going through a lot of my old content because I've had old content on other channels with Okusen the other day, and looking back, and it's been like, for content creation, it's been quite a journey for me. And like, I used to have so much energy. I used to be so upbeat with so much energy and so much intensity in everything I was doing with my old videos. I would like, I wouldn't do much editing, but I would like take 15 takes in order to make sure I could get it all in one take. It was intense. So not to make myself sound like a boomer here, but I've been doing some form of content creation for about 8 years. So like, I started doing card game videos, do like deck profiles, tournament reports, and other stuff with like different card games on some other channels. And then I moved to streaming about 4 years ago. So like, for the last 4 years, off and on, there have been some hiatuses, some breaks, some rebrandings. I wasn't always a VTuber. I started doing regular flesh tubing with my face and stuff, but I decided I wanted to do VTubing, so that's what I do. Sorry to get a little nostalgic on you, but it's been a journey. As for what I do, what we do here on this channel, our motto is always to shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always, always, always stop to enjoy the memes. And by that, what I mean is always be willing to chase your stars. What are your stars? Your stars are your dreams, your hopes, dreams, ambitions. Here we are, I like to call this community the Star Hunters, because the stars are our hopes, dreams, and ambitions, and we don't just chase our dreams. We don't just follow our dreams, we hunt our dreams down, and we chase them down. We hunt them down with active... Yes, procrastination is a killer, yes. We hunt our dreams down through proactive steps every single day, encouraging each other to take steps every day to go after our dreams. I just like that mental image more than just like wandering or chasing, but this mental image of actively hunting down your dreams, with this being this very proactive action. I was very enamored with it. I realize it's probably a very bizarre, out of context, that probably sounds really bizarre. We hunt our dreams. But yeah, that's what we do here. I'm always glad to have new people. I hope you stick around. I hope this is something that's entertaining for you. It's hard. It's hard dealing with the cringe of reading your own writing. So I'm doing a writing challenge. I don't have a deadline for the writing challenge. I guess I'm just kind of going till I finish. But my writing challenge is that I want to write at least 200 words a day every single day. Now, I know normally whenever you go to write, you want to write like between 1,000 to 2,000 words. That's the, like, for especially for novel writers, that's normally that sweet spot that you normally aim for. But for me, I have so much trouble starting when it's like, am I going to have the time? Am I going to have the energy? Am I in the right state of mind? Am I like in the right like point of my life to be cranking out 1,000 to 2,000 words? I found this meme that I shared on my Discord where someone was talking about how this famous author, I think it was Terry Pratchett, supposedly wrote 400 words a day and was able to publish consistently throughout his life. And so the person in the meme or whatever was like, hey, I'm going to take that number of 400 and cut it in half and say I'm writing half as much as Terry Pratchett and let that be my motivator and see what I do. Now, sometimes when I get going, I'll write more, but I'm not writing. The goal is to not write less. And it's the one of the points that the post made was it's a lot easier to edit 200 words of bad writing than it is to edit a blank page. And that's been kind of my thing. I've been averaging between like 300 to 600 words a day, so still not hitting that 1,000 mark or whatever. Some days I hit that 1,000 mark. But like most days, I'm between 300 to 600 words, so it's not a whole lot. It's not moving super quickly, but it's something. I do it on stream. I want to do it on stream at least once a week. I'm thinking now that I have RPG Maker, I'll probably do one day of the week will be a writing stream, and the other, because I stream twice a week, I stream Mondays and Fridays. I'll probably do one of the days will be a writing stream, and then the other one will probably be an RPG Maker stream. I'm not sure if I'm confident enough in which day is going to be which in order to say every Monday is a writing stream. It might just be whatever I'm really focused on at the time, and I kind of want to reserve the right to be fluid with whatever it is, which I hope you all can understand, because being creative, I'm not always going to have the energy for doing the game development stream. Like today, I want to do the writing stream because I have all these ideas. And also, Civil, one of the things I do here is I bounce ideas off chat. If I get stuck, I'll ask chat for some input, ideas, suggestions. I don't always take them, but sometimes just having suggestions, having people to bounce ideas off of, even if I'm just talking them out to chat, helps me work through some levels of writer's block and some issues. And it's like, it helps me feel like I'm not doing it alone. So that's one thing that I really enjoy doing about doing it on stream. But as for the cringe of reading first drafts, I don't know what to tell you. Like, yes, viewer interaction. Sometimes the viewer interaction is as simple as asking you all for random numbers that I pump into a random generator to get ideas. So I use a lot of random generators to get ideas and prompts and names. So I'll often just ask for groups of numbers like between 1 and 6 or 1 and 3. Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of viewer interaction. In order to give me stuff like, oh my gosh, there was so normally what I'll do, like a lot of the random generators that I use will crank out between like 3 to to 10 ideas every time you press the button. So I'll tell the viewers, give me a number between 1 and 6, give me a number between 1 and 10. The number between 1 and 6 is yes, or I need real life examples of fungal neural networks. Sometimes I just need some real life examples of things. And so we were doing one thing where I wish I'd clipped it. I don't know if it would be entertaining to watch. But we were coming up with quirks. I was using this thing for like generating quirks and odd things for my main character. And so people said the number, that told me the number of times I was going to press the generate button and the number item on the list I was going to go for. And I did it. And the quirk that the quirk generator gave us was, this character believes in griffins. And I thought that was hilarious, and I ran with it, and it's become a key part of the character's it's okay, Sybil. I know what you meant. I appreciate your subscription. But yeah, so whenever I'm stuck, like that's one thing. Yeah, so I was saying, so we had this hilarious moment where we got this key part of the character's backstory and the character's character that was developed via a random generator that was chosen essentially by chat. Now, it was randomly chosen by chat, but it became a key part, and that's one of the reasons why I intend to very much, whenever, like, if this does make it to being a full novel, to thank chat for their participation and for their suggestions and for just being there, because all of you are what really inspire me and help me to keep chasing my creative dreams. And I would not have gotten as far as I've gotten at all if I wasn't doing it on stream, if I didn't have the input from each and every one of you, and if I didn't have people cheering me on. Anyway, also, normally for these streams, I start at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then I'll talk for like the first half hour or so of just free chat. Then we go into actual writing or gaming, whatever is going to be the project for the night. And then at the end, we'll have another chatting time to wrap up before we end stream. Just so you have an idea of what the format looks like. It's very much like a free-forming, and if you ever have an idea or something you want to share, or if you want to share something that you're working on, please feel free to do that at any time. Like if you ever have a character you're working on, or a story you're working on that you wanna share, feel free to do so. Also, if you join the Discord, there is a writer's corner where I post regular updates to my story that we're working on stream. If you want to go back and read the whole thing, I usually do that like every 7 days. I'll post an update of where I'm at with my first draft. But I invite other people to share their thing. I think Nekomaji, no, not Neko, Goldfish, another viewer, shared the first chapter of their novel that they're working on. Nekomaji shared the backstory of an RP world that they're working on for an RP session thing. And I want to inspire and encourage creativity. So if you have You mentioned having some old first draft civil that you hadn't picked up in a long time that was just hard to read. Yeah, not quite a novel, but it was definitely a backstory, and it was really interesting. It was a really great read, Nekomaji. Now we're not quite editors here. We're not going to proofread your work, and we're not going to give you line by line editing, but we can give some feedback for anything that you want to share with us. Alrighty, let's move on to the next. Hey, I'm always glad to hear whatever you're working on, Civil. Oh, I gotta update these numbers. These are rookie numbers. Not rookie numbers, actually. When what's my current word count at? 15,616. It's funny, I also use my number pad to control my avatar, so typing in the numbers in the word count bar also makes my avatar move. But no, even crossing the 10K boundary was a huge leap forward, and it was something I could only do with the support of chat. All right, you all ready for high-speed story retelling? Now, keep in mind, this entire story was inspired by a random a random prompt that I got through a generator. The name and the basic prompt of the story came out of a generator, and I've just been running with that for a while now. But Silva, you said you were working on an elevator pitch for us, for what you're working on. Well, I'll get started on my thing, and then we'll see. I'll read yours whenever you post yours. So, it's the future year of 4001, and all technology is made out of plants. It is we called it plant punk. Everything is like a cyberpunky future, but all of the technology is some kind of plant. Everything is biodegradable. It is an absolutely zero waste society. Which already sounds really cool, I think. And there is, at the start of the story, the main character, Hazel Adelia, finds out via newspaper that the new government that took place, that moved into place 20 years ago, has announced that they believe humanity has reached a dead end and that humanity is a waste of space on the planet, and they are announcing that they intend to exterminate all human life on the planet. And then what happens next is how the world unfolds and reacts to this announcement that the government is planning to exterminate humanity. And like it starts with Hazel having to deal with, you know, I still have to go to work, right? And this unique experience of the world ending but still having to get to work on time. We explore Hazel going through a day of work where he but it's not like his normal route, because he's an airship pilot. He pilots this advanced plant-based airship for local deliveries. And it's a small ship that he can operate by himself. Most of its stuff is automated, and he can run it from the helm. And he is doing his normal rounds, but he gets a couple extra rounds. Ooh, got something. What do you got, Civil? Imagine a graphic novel whose writing draws from Elizabethan-era Oxfordian cryptography and numerology. The theme deals with ancient Greek mystery cults instead of Freemason Christianity. Ooh. Dionysus and Bacchanalia, all of which is inspired from Alexander Walk's YouTube channel. Okay, I'm not laughing at you. I was just... The thought of all of this ancient stuff and historical fiction stuff, and well, not historical fiction, but all this historical stuff being inspired by someone's YouTube channel is just an interesting juxtaposition for me. Like to see that just seems like an interesting, like, I think juxtaposition is the right word, where you see two things side by side that are very different but still connected. So Hazel is going about his normal day, but he has 2 extra deliveries that he got because two of the pilots didn't show up for work because the world was ending, or the end of the world had been announced in the news. So their deliveries had to get passed off to other people. He's the head of the UK's Oxfordian Society. He's very well educated professional. But that's all from my end. Continue. Oh, okay. I didn't mean any disrespect for Alexander Walk's work. I wasn't familiar with him. I was only commenting on it being a YouTube channel. But that's actually really cool that the Oxfordian Society has official, unofficial YouTube channel. That's really cool. It's really amazing what people can do with this platform and with the media that they're given put at their disposal. So Hazel is trying to go about his regular everyday stuff. But then he has these 2 extra deliveries. One of which he goes to a place called I blanked on the name of one of my primary characters, Fox Coffee. And he finds out that one of the loads he's delivering is actually coffee beans that have been partially digested by some kind of animal, which technically makes them an animal product. And in this world, animal products are very carefully regulated in order to restrict their usage, in order to prevent the pollution and waste that can come from abuse of animal production. In order to keep them small and under control. But Fox Coffee gets their digested coffee beans through an underground cellar that ships all the pallets wrapped up in a thick wrapper, so nobody knows what they're delivering. Because then if you don't know what you're delivering, you don't know you're delivering something illegal, creating this plausible deniability. But then that leads to this interesting interaction where he meets this character Yu, and you find out later that Yu is actually a leader of a rebel group that's operating out of this coffee shop. And Yu invites Hazel to come to an informational meeting that's like informational meeting / recruitment meeting. Hazel comes back for that meeting, and the meeting is getting out of control because there's a lot of people who are all extremely emotional, very scared, with very little information, that keep interrupting Yu as he's trying to get his words out there. And it looks like everything might be on the verge of turning into some kind of a riot, or to get some kind of violent, because people are scared, and this Yu's attempt at a recruitment meeting is just not working because he's not keeping people under control. And then Hazel steps in, takes charge of the meeting, and is able to get people asking their questions in an orderly fashion, and getting people to actually listen to you and to get information spread out. And then at the end of the meeting, some of the people from the rebellion are going to different people from the crowd, picking them apart, and then recruiting them, picking them from the rest of the crowd and recruiting them secretly, in order to keep the guise of this being an informational meeting, when in reality it was also a recruitment meeting for the rebellion. And then you also, somewhere in the middle of all of this, you meet Hazel's best friend Fern. She's his closest friend and the only person who believes him when he talks about griffins being real. And she's very much a friend / rival. Wherever anytime Hazel's been first place at something, Fern has always been second place. But like, it's not really a rivalry because Fern has never really been a threat to Hazel being first place. But as Hazel improves, so does Fern. So it's this interesting dynamic between them where they're friendly rivals, but it's not actually a competition. Then they learn that there are different rebel groups that have been resisting the government. The governmental party that's currently in power is called Rosa Crucis, which is Latin for Rose Cross. A lot of the names are either plant names or Latin names. Sometimes they're Latin names for plants. And Hazel finds out that there are these other rebel groups that have been resisting Rosa Crucius this whole time, and that now the group that's operating out of Fox Coffee is trying to unite all of the rebel groups into one unified rebel movement in order to stop this extermination plan. But then you, the leader of this group, tells Hazel that, like, we need your leadership skills, we need your mediation skills, we probably need your piloting skills, but we need to make sure that you don't act like this one person from history. It's like, ooh, because Hazel's this very limited, this restricted understanding of history, because Hazel's only 24. Rosa Crucius took power 20 years ago. So throughout all of Hazel's like formative years and growing up, he's lived underneath this current regime, and they have had a stranglehold on education. And he finds out about this historical figure called the Revolutionary that you learn more about later, that the Revolutionary was this charismatic leader during the revolution that put Rosa Crucius in power. It was a very mysterious individual who had a very powerful set of ideals and a very strong personality, and was able to unite people from lots of different groups and backgrounds into one unified movement. But then the perspective shifts, and then we start talking about our secondary character. Our secondary character is an air pirate, but instead of introducing us from the perspective of the air pirate, I instead wanted to introduce us from the perspective of someone being raided by the air pirate. So you follow this unnamed ship with this unnamed captain. I intentionally gave no names because I wanted them to be just another statistic of someone else who just got raided by this pirate. And I wanted to express that panic, that fear, and that helplessness they felt being borne down upon by this massive pirate ship. And you're introduced to Grief Stormblood, this terrifying pirate captain who takes what she wants and is rumored to live on a floating city. And she lives on a floating city called Domus, which it's Latin for house or home. Not the most original name, I know, but like it works. It sounds cool. Then we had a lot of good characterization here where we have Grief interacting with her crew, and you find out that everyone on board this floating city at some point or other was a member of Grief's crew, and she still considers them all members of her crew. Even though some of them have retired or gotten their own ships that have their own crews and are operating in order to help bring in supplies in order to keep this flying city running. And then it's revealed in this chapter that in her youth, Grief Stormblood was the revolutionary. She was this charismatic figure that was a leader in the previous revolution. And you find out that she was very motivated because she believed that humanity had reached a dead end. She believed that humanity was like human technology and human development had completely stagnated because it had been over 1,000 years since any new advancement in scientific technology had been released. And she was convinced by this group of business owners that formed the leadership of Rosa Crucius that if she helped them get into power, that they could institute real change that could bring about new new options, new solutions, new possibilities for humanity. But she doesn't feel like they delivered on that because they literally threw her to the wayside as soon as the revolution was completed. And from her perspective, every technological advancement that they've had was just solving a problem that some other technological advancement or new societal option or some new thing created a problem and then something else solved the problem. And from her perspective, it's been a zero-sum game where humanity just hasn't moved forward at all. This idea of that the more things change, the more they stay the same. Then our view skipped back to Hazel, and we have chapter. Did I do chapter 5 twice? No, chapter 4, then chapter 5. Okay. In chapter 5, it's this whole thing where Hazel finds out more about the revolutionary and about the revolution, about the history of the world. There's a lot of plot that happens here. And then we break down into Hazel meeting with all of the leaders of the primary rebel groups and seeing what they all want. So I wanted to go over that with you because now I have to come up with a way that's believable for Hazel to come up with, to have all of them working together, even though I might have written myself into a corner because they all want very different things. And they have very well-developed reasons for why they want these different things. So first you've got the Rotten Fighters. Those are the ones that operate out of Fix Coffee. They're led by you. And their only goal is to see this bomb that's going to be used to destroy humanity destroyed, dismantled, disposed of. They want this crisis averted and contained. They want to see the continued existence of humanity. They don't care who they have to befriend, what they have to do, what papers they have to sign, what they have to lie, cheat, and steal about. They don't care who they have to run over in order to make sure that this bomb does not get set off. Like one of their things, it says, if it means humanity survives, we're willing to lose our souls in the process. Super edgy, but I thought it was a really good line. Yes, Nekomaji. If this was an anime, you would just flash cut to all of them working together and never explain why they're working together, even though they all have such different ideals and very different goals. And you know, that might be an option. I might flash cut to it if I can't come up with a good enough reason right now. I might leave that for something to pass over on the second draft, but I don't want to do it that way. I have an idea, but I don't know if it's a good idea. So let me go over what each of these rebel groups wants. So that's what the Rotten Fighters want. They just want this bomb dealt with. They don't care what it takes. A few days later, he meets with the leader of the Fluke Rebels. And you find out that the Fluke Rebels are the remainders of the old security forces that used to be the military of the old government before the revolution. They're led by someone named Chrysanthemums, or goes by Chris for short. Which is funny, whenever I came up with this, whenever I got this name from the random generator of Chrysanthemums and Chris for short, I instantly thought of whatchamacallit, my brain just blanked. The thing with the magical girls and the magic and the song and the mecha. Symphogear. I instantly thought of the character Chris from Symphogear, which was funny. But yeah, so the Fluke Rebels, what they want is they want to become a movement. They want to start supporting politicians who will bring real change and move back to the utopian days. They want to see actual change in the government, and they want to become a movement that supports political effort to put pressure on the government to bring about actual change and to get back to the utopian days of the old government before Rosicrucius took over. Because when Rosicrucius took over, they reintroduced money to the society. And when they reintroduced money, they reintroduced big business, and people stopped growing all of their things at home and started using materials that were manufactured by large manufacturing plants and facilities. And all of a sudden, since nobody was growing stuff at home anymore, they needed money in order to buy all of the things that were being produced by all of the businesses. They went through all of the economic problems of modern society, but on a speed run. They essentially hit a really hard industrial revolution, which has brought out a lot of good things, but they already had a lot of great solutions and a lot of useful tech before this industrial revolution. So it was kind of like all of the worst parts of the industrial revolution. And what the Fluke Rebels want is they want to start getting change back to this, like reinforcing the social programs, and to have change to roll back a lot of this reliance on money, and to get closer to the post-scarcity world that they had been living in. Also name drops the title of the story. The story is called Halcyon Avenging, and name drops Halcyon and explains what it means. Then a few days later, which I need to find a new way to say a few days later, because that I say that like 3 times in this chapter and it's really annoying. And then he meets with Goldenrod, who goes by Rod for short, who's the leader of the media insurgents. And the media insurgents want the rebellion to help with spreading the truth, actual news of real events of what's happening, instead of the propaganda that's getting spread by the government currently, and want them to work for pushing for changes to the education system so that the next generation can make informed decisions and participate in the government. Because right now, people are being taught next to nothing about the government, so no one is able to actually participate in the government at large, because there's an entire generation that have not been educated whatsoever in how government works. Yeah. I could do an entire prequel on that, actually. But there's a twist about it. Everybody else here knows the twist. Because the twist was in the random prompt that I got for this. And the twist that I haven't gotten to, that's not going to come out till the very end of the story, is that all of this stuff that's said to be taking place in the far future is actually taking place in the ancient past, and the extermination event that they set off is actually the Triassic extermination event that killed 50% of life on Earth. And I'm writing everything with that in mind, with this idea that if all their technology is biodegradable, then there'd be no fossil record if they vaporized all of humanity. Yeah. That prompt I actually got from I actually got this prompt on my Discord. I have linked the place where I got the prompt and the title from, if anybody wants to use those for their own prompt generation. I find random prompts to be a really great way to get ideas. And then the last group, did I name drop? Oh, I didn't even name drop this group. I might have to put that in there. The last group, called the Belated Rebellion, which is kind of a goofy name. Oh yeah, the Belated Revolt. There it is. The Belated Revolt is made up of the remains of the old revolutionary forces. So now you've got one rebel group that's made up of the old security forces, and now you've got another rebel group that's made of the remains of the revolutionary forces, and then trying to get them to work together. But the revolutionary forces feel like they were betrayed by Rosicrucius, because they were promised new scientific developments, they were promised new possibilities, they were promised a new future full of human possibility, and what they got was a 9-to-5 work week. They got middle managers, they got bosses, they got this need for money that they hadn't had before. And what they lost was the ability to produce all of these products in their own home. There was this thing called Miraculum, which is this miracle grow stuff that allows plants to grow at a hyper fast speed, that everyone used to get a set amount of Miraculum from the government. And that Miraculum was used in order to grow replacements for anything that broke, and also to grow all of your food, and seeds were easily accessible. And so in the old government, everyone had enough. Nobody had a whole lot. Nobody had giant, mansions, but everybody had enough. But since Rosicrucius took over, now you need lots of money and not permits, but you need lots of money to get Miraculum, and the only ones who can afford to get Miraculum are the businesses. So now those businesses are exclusively using it to produce products. So now people can no longer get the Miraculum themselves to grow and produce the products and the food at their own home, so they need money to get those goods and those products that they can no longer produce at home. And so the Belated Revolt, well, for one thing, they want someone else to rise up and be a new leader like the revolutionary. And Iris is the name of the Belated Revolt, the leader of the Belated Revolt. And she gives a redacted version of the journal of the revolutionary to Hazel. Apparently all of them swore an oath whenever the revolutionary was cast aside and left the limelight to never reveal the revolutionary's identity. So this journal has been redacted and had all personal information scrubbed from it, leaving only the revolutionary strategies and ideals. And a copy of this is given to Hazel and said, you know, you have the potential, you could be the next revolutionary. But Hazel's like, I don't want to be the next revolutionary. That's not the point here. I'm not trying to get you to follow me. I'm trying to get you to follow our ideals and work together. But then they tell him what they actually want. Besides getting a new revolutionary to follow, besides having a new charismatic leader to lead them into the future, they want the government to come back under control of the people. There's an organization called the Civil Oversight Committee, which is a group of civilians that are supposed to have complete veto power of everything that the government's supposed to do. Like, these are layperson, non-politicians. But what ends up happening is the Civil Oversight Committee never exercises their power for anything more than some token shows of power. And whenever they veto something, the government will make the smallest of changes, and then the Civil Oversight Committee will unveto it, will accept the new proposal, and it's like, yes, this is the success of being run by the people, for the people, when they didn't do anything. And they want the Civil Oversight Committee to be pressured to actually use its power to bring Rosia Crucius under control. If they don't use their power, to be pressured to leave office so others can take in the offices of the Civil Oversight Committee and actually utilize their power. Sorry if I've been moving at a breakneck speed. I have a lot to cover. That gets us to where we're at right now. That's a good question, Civil. So I want there to be some interesting action. Like, I want there to be this big pull between the two primary characters of Grief Stormblood and Hazel Ardelia, where Grief in her youth had been the revolutionary, had been this highly motivated, charismatic leader. And now Hazel is inadvertently walking that same path. I'm not sure what you mean by set pieces, if you mean by like I'm not very familiar with how that word is, what that means in this context. And I'm not sure what's going to grab my readers, honestly. That's not the best answer. Like, I want my readers to be caught up in not just the politics, but also the novelty of it all, the plant-based future. I want my readers to be really invested all the way to the end. And this is also a tragic tale, because in the end, Hazel loses. So some big thing. Energetic or original extended sequence that contains a big payoff for the audience. I think the biggest sequence with the big payoff is going to see the descent of Hazel, where you see him start as this relatively shy individual with a lot of leadership capabilities and a good head on his shoulders and a desire to please everyone. But then over time, due to the struggles of leadership and the pressures of other people around him and the influence of this journal, he starts to become more and more of this charismatic leader that is very devoted to his cause. And people will stop following because of his ideals, and will start following because they trust him. Yes, so says Google. And I want that to be the payoff of this change. And then you see, from Grief's point of view, where she sees this kid following in her footsteps and falling into the same traps and the same social pressures that she did. And as Hazel is trying to do everything he can to convince Grief that he's right and that she should join him, and Grief is just like, I'm not even gonna try to convince you otherwise, because I already know how you're gonna react, because I know how I would have reacted in that situation. And I guess that's kind of gonna be a bit of a payoff of seeing this character arc for Hazel. It's not quite a descent into madness, but every step of the way, Hazel thinks he's rising to the occasion. He's becoming what he needs to be to achieve his goals, but he's also getting one step closer to his own destruction. There's going to be a subplot. I haven't introduced it yet. But when the perspective shifts back to Grief, we're going to be exploring this other thing where, while Hazel is trying to run this rebellion, right? Grief is going to get contracted by the government in order to fight the rebellion. So there's going to be I want to have a lot of really exciting naval battles, which I have no idea how to write excitingly. I want there to be some like edge of your seat action with a lot of trading of blows and a lot of intensity of what's going to be happening, and some exciting like stealth operations and a variety of things as the rebellion is working together to attack these facilities that are doing the research necessary to produce the bomb. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question, Civil? I'm sorry if I kind of was rambling for a little bit there. I wasn't exactly sure how to answer that. So anyway, we get to chapter 6, negotiations, which is where it's the day of the negotiations. Hazel has still been going to work this entire time, right? And he's at work going through the motions, being essentially a zombie because he's so dreading this. And Hazel's plan Yes. And I guess I'm planning to have one. So it's going to be revealed that the government has this plan to put up these bunkers and to let 10% of humanity survive in these bunkers and put a lot of like resources and animals and things in these bunkers that they need to protect it from the blast in order to rebuild humanity in their own image, instead of trying to constantly struggle against the expectations set by the previous government. And as the explosion goes off and as Hazel fails to stop the final explosion, he's going to see a griffin, which, if you remember, I said he's obsessed with finding griffins, but he's going to, at some point, he's abandoning that search for griffins because he's so devoted to the rebellion. He's losing that childlike wonder in his dedication for his cause. But then in the end, as he's crashing and as the bomb's exploding, he's going to see a griffin in a cage, and he's going to realize that griffins have been real this entire time, but for some reason the government was hiding them. Never going to be explained. It's just what he's going to find out as the world is ending. Well, humanity's ending. So it kind of creates this idea of it taking place on this like sci-fi fantasy world where like there's only one continent, but then you find out in the end that that continent was Pangea, and this bomb going off was what started the tectonic plates shifting in order to lead to the breakup of Pangea. But yes, it could be really artsy that way, where his destruction coincides with the world's destruction. But he thinks for all the world he's going to make it. Well, so there's this subplot where Grief Stormblood, the pirate, is going to start using her resources and her influence in order to fund this researcher who's trying to develop this microorganism, this single-celled organism that will supposedly guarantee that humanity will re-evolve after the bomb goes off. And so the ending is that the bomb goes off, humanity's vaporized, all of their technology decomposes, leaving no sign of human civilization, and all the algae and plant life that they used for all of their technology eventually becomes fossilized to become the fossil fuels that we use today. The fuels for a society that will go on without end. So it's a bittersweet ending. Yes, like, Hazel loses. Hazel thinks he's won, but in the end, he actually loses. And it turns out that they all, just like I said, become the fossil fuels that power our modern society. That's how the ending is going to be. Yes, it's that kind of ending, Nekomaji. I'm glad you can deal with bittersweet, Sybil. So, because two of the groups, well, actually all three of the groups, want some kind of a political change, right? All three of the groups besides the rotten fighters want some kind of political change. My idea was that Hazel was going to lean into this leadership thing and try to just say to all of them, yo, trust me, help us deal with this immediate solution, and then afterwards we will work on this immediate problem of the bomb, and afterwards we will work on helping you achieve all of your goals. That was my idea. I don't know if any of you were following along as I was listing what each of them want. But yeah, in chapter 6, it's the day of the negotiations. Hazel's like really freaking out because he's not sure about his plan to just say, yo, trust me, I got you. He doesn't actually word it like that, but he's essentially saying that to these groups, like, hey, just help us out and then we'll help you out. Because the thing is, each of these rebel groups has a point, right? Because the media insurgents want education to be changed and people to be informed about the government, because if people aren't informed about the government, they can never take charge of their government, and there's nothing to stop the government from committing this or some other atrocity, right? The Belated Revolt want the Civil Oversight Committee to actually rein in Rosicrucius, and if the Civil Oversight Committee doesn't do its job, there's nothing to stop them from trying to do this again, or to just like making another bomb or doing some other genocide in order to achieve their own goals. And what was the last one? I always forget the name of the last one. The Fluke Rebellion. The Fluke Rebels want to see a change in the politicians that currently run Rosicrucius. Want to see a change in that leadership, and so all of them want to see this big change. But there's no immediate solution right now. Oh, sorry if I'm belching to your ears. Not the ASMR you wanted. I mean, I guess I could delve into the thing is I don't know much about I'm not an activist, so I don't know much about these grassroots efforts. Yes, you're partial to your oversight committee, Civil. That's funny how that works out. So Fern, Hazel's best friend, shakes him loose and is like, yo, if you don't get your head out of your rear end, if you don't focus on what's going on, you are going to mess this up. And it finally shakes him loose, and he talks to Fern and he's like, listen, one of these rebel groups wants me to become the next revolutionary. And Fern's like, become who you have to be. Focus on what you want to be and do and say what you have to do to achieve that goal. So now here I am. The longer this story gets, the longer that breakdown takes in order to go from beginning to where we are currently. I've really got to get a shorter way to go over the details. Alright, so So now I have to actually write the meeting. I have to write the meeting that they go to, right? Where these negotiations are happening, and Hazel. So the idea here is that Hazel is supposed to be acting as a mediator, where he's trying to make sure everybody gets what they want. But over the course of this negotiation, he is going to get pressured into taking on a leadership position, as people will come to follow him, and maybe not the exact movement. But this is where we're going to get some audience participation, some chat participation. I want them to meet somewhere that's a neutral area that's not owned by that's not a base of any of the other ones. What kind of location would be good for holding a top secret meeting that's not just one of their bases? I'm open to suggestions, chat. I'm thinking, like, I mean, you could always do the abandoned warehouse thing, right? But I'm curious what you all come up with. Hmm. Out behind a mall food court. So not even in the mall food court, but behind the mall. So like in like a behind a big shopping center, you say. Is that what you're saying, Nekomaji? That's a good idea. Or maybe in the mall food court. See, when you say behind a mall food court, my brain just thinks, well, what's behind the mall food court is just the mall. So, like, are they just going to be having their meeting in a Hot Topic? Oh my gosh. I'm familiar with Brandon Sanderson. Ah, that's a very valid part. I'm also playing against type here because like I'm fairly certain that all of my research into how rebellions work and different types of rebellions is going to put me on some kind of a list. But I'm like, no, it's for a story, I promise. So what if instead of the mall food court, they're just what if instead of behind the mall, because then you're just like out in the open? What if they just had the meeting by putting together some tables at a mall food court? Movie theaters I would say exist because they use different multicolor bioluminescent moss or color changing bioluminescent moss and other plants in order to create screens, like kind of like LCD screens. Hmm. Okay. I see, Nekomaji. Uh, so it's supposed to be like all of the things you could imagine in a cyberpunk future exist here in some way. There's computers, there's TVs, there's internet. Just everything exists and is made of plants. There's body modification, there's guns, no lasers. There's no lasers, but there are bullets. There's bladed weapons. Not a lot of like transforming or folding things. There are simple, like, primary modes of transportation are bicycle and airship. They've just recently developed cars, but the cars are only used by the rich and powerful at this point. They're a novelty item. And all of their technology is biodegradable. It's an absolute zero waste society. So I don't know what to compare it to. But yeah. Yes, I think the bullets are really cool. The bullets are based on the witch hazel plant, which is where I got the name for, like, most of the main characters have names based on plants. So the witch hazel fruit, the outside will like dry up and contract as the inside expands, which puts pressure on the seeds until the skin ruptures and the seeds get jettisoned out, spinning as they go out and launching with the same force of like a musket or a 19 not 19 like a pirate's pistol. But yeah, civil. Anything you could expect to see in in some form of a cyberpunk world. That's a good idea. I like your idea, Sybil. Let's split the difference. Let's split the difference. So instead, we're gonna have them meet at the mall food court, buy food, and then go for a hike with their food. I'm not playing with religion in this story. For some people, their politics are their religion. But I'm not playing a lot. I wasn't planning on there being like this is supposed to be kind of like a futuristic, a retro future kind of setting. So I don't think having the food be an offering really fits. I definitely want this to be like a yeah. The five of them, the four organization heads, and Hazel would meet at a mall food court, and once they bought their food, would go on a hike outside of town to a clearing away from prying eyes. The open-air clearing had wooden benches and a simple table in the middle. Yes. Yes, plants. Plants do give off oxygen. And in this setting, we're having the airships fly by being carried up by float sacks which attach around the sides of the ship, and the float sacks are filled with hydrogen. Because I found out it is possible for plants to make hydrogen. Albeit, you have to feed a plant toxic waste in order to get it to make hydrogen. But like, we're kind of glossing over the details for the sake of some sci-fi fantasy stuff. But we're also assuming a lot of fantasy here. Not fantasy. Well, yeah, it is fantasy. We're assuming that, yeah, these are super plants that are grown specifically to do super things. So they have special trees, and they use a tree network of roots as their internet, but they also have a pheromonal network of Wi-Fi that's like a combination of like wireless internet and radio waves that they can use for communication and for accessing things. Their screens are made with multicolor bioluminescent fungi and moss that can change their color, like essentially like pixels. What else? We did a whole thing at the start whenever I first started working on this story, coming up with ideas for technology. It was really great. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I have here in this scene is everyone sitting down to eat their food, right? And you, the leader from Fox Coffee, the leader of the Rotten Fighters, pulls out a thermos and starts offering everyone his Fox coffee, which is coffee made from partially digested coffee beans, right? And Hazel has to put his foot down because all of them agreed, no exchanging of gifts, everyone meets as equals. Whatever food you're eating is stuff that you picked up there, so no one is trying to show off or be in any social standing above everyone else. They're all eating mall food, right? And then have this discussion completely as equals. So then I want to have this as a scene which sets up Hazel as this fair mediator who's not showing any favoritism even to you, even though you and the Rotten Fighters are the ones who selected Hazel for this mediation position. Actually, I want to change this a little bit. Hold on. There we go. I like that better. I like how that's phrased better. So before I was describing it in the past tense, but I realized I was describing things in kind of the future tense, that this is what they were going to do, but I wasn't actually describing them doing it. So I wanted to show them doing it and then make that the sentence. So I had to change the tenses and change some of the wording. Okay. That's actually a good idea, Civil. I'm always open to uh, constructive criticism and good input. Like that kind of stuff about like the adding the more flowery language is stuff that I was planning to do more on the second draft. Because right now I'm trying to focus on getting the ideas on paper. But if I do it now, that means that's less work I have to do on the second draft. So it's not exactly something I'm going to go out of my way on, but it's definitely not a bad idea by any stretch of the imagination. Mhm. All right, Iris is. I think I made this one the blue-haired one. Let me get my physical descriptions. Let me scroll back up to my physical descriptions for each of them. I kind of made it up as I went along. You is a fancy guy. Chris is tall guy, jet black hair, pale skin. Short man, blonde hair is goldenrod. Dark skin, striking blue hair. Okay. I want to get these good because I'm trying to... So one thing I'm not super good at is showing. I'm really good at telling. Comes from my years of playing D&D and having, and like, you know, every perception check's an exposition dump, right? So having to actually, which I mean, even then I do way too much telling and not enough showing. So I'm trying to get better at describing the physicality of what people look like, what their setting looks like, what each of them looks like, in order to help craft this picture in my reader's mind. Yeah, thesauruses are nice. I like using dialogue as a way to craft things, but I want the dialogue to sound like it's being spoken by that person. Does that make sense? I want to craft each person with a specific voice. Let me go back to where I introduced you and see if I gave you any defining physical features. Proud, smooth. Okay, I didn't give you any physical characteristics. Okay. I didn't give you any physical characteristics. I envision him as being a smooth talking, like your stereotypical, like very, not haughty, but very, what's the right word? Like to describe a barista at like a small, not a Starbucks, but like some kind of like hoity-toity coffee shop that only deals in the most expensive and exotic beans and things. Which I guess that kind of describes Starbucks. I just feel like most Starbucks employees that I've met or interacted with just wanted like the sales interaction to be over. We're saying at this point, because this is 4,000 years into human development, that it is just Homo sapiens. So the reveal that all of this took place in the ancient past is supposed to come as a surprise reveal. I want the reader to think from the beginning that this is taking place on some alien world or some fantasy world where where there was only one continent and human development and human development went the way of plants. But that's a good question, because like part of this is writing with the end in mind. I want, like, by knowing where I'm going, I hope that it can inform what I do. Let me take a look here. What did they want? Okay. All right. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's 11 o'clock already. Holy cow. So I normally do short streams. When I did gaming streams, I normally end them at about 10:30, but since I've been doing writing streams, I've been going a little bit later. So I normally try to wind down around 11 and then just have like 20 to 30 minutes of just chatting as we talk about what we've covered. Let's see how many words we've added. We did tonight 769 words. That's not bad. It's not great, but I mean, let me put this. I have to put this into perspective. It's less than 1,000 words, right? But it's more than 0, and it's more than my 200 word goal, right? So I'd say I'd call that a win. What do you think, chat? An extra 769 words added to the pile. Brings the total word count for this chapter to 1,173. Thank you, Civil. So I like to, let me show you. I like to keep track of how many days. This is my notepad where I keep all my notes. So because I have the chapter names of each chapter, right? But 11173. I have no way to record that. I have no way to record the chapter without having it added to the word count. So since I don't want to throw off my word count, I have to record all of them separately. All right. So my total word count now is 15,212 plus 1173. We're up to 16,385. All right. Let me make sure I save my work. That's always important to save your work. Never trust the autosave. I have some ideas of where we're going to go from here. I'll work more on it tomorrow and the day after, like I always do. I'd say that was a pretty good run. Let me update that. 16,385. Hey, listen, you're always welcome. Never feel like there's pressure. So tell me, Civil, do you have any plans for this week? What do you got? You got anything you're working on or looking forward to? Just earning rent money by house sitting. Figured during that time I'd work on my own writing a little now that you've reignited my passion for it. Hey, I'm always glad to do that. So, when I was talking a while back with Okusen about why I started streaming, I remembered, so there was this motivational speaker guy I used to be really into, Gary V. He's still around, but I don't really follow up on him. I heard he got really involved with NFTs and stuff, so I haven't really been keeping up with what he's up to. But he had this one speech that I can't find for the life of me, where he said, to all of you who are looking for someone's permission to go chase your dream, for someone to blame if it goes wrong, this is it. Let that be me. Go chase your dream, and if it goes wrong, and people ask you, why did you do that? Why did you take that risk? Why did you go do that thing? Tim's Vermeer. What's that? What's that about? No, it's fine. It's fine. And he said, let this be your moment. If you want to go out there and chase your dream, do your thing. If someone says, why'd you do that? Say, some guy on the internet told me to do it. Say, Gary V told me to do it. Thank you, Nekomaji. Yeah, I definitely got a lot done today. And thank you. I think so too. And I wouldn't have got it done without all of you. And I realized that, like, you shouldn't need other people's permission to go out and be successful and chase your dreams, but I want to definitely be that for other people. If you feel like you need someone's permission to go do something, like, I'm not saying go, like, sell your house, quit your job, and move to Hollywood. Painting technique that lets him replicate an old masterpiece on pretty much his very first try. It has pen and teller in it. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I wouldn't suggest looking up Gary V today because I don't know what kind of stuff he's into now. Are pen and teller, are those magicians? But oh, okay. I was right. Those are magicians. Okay. Oh, okay. That's actually kind of funny, Sybil. But I want to. This sounds kind of haughty to say, but I want to inspire other people. I want to inspire other people to go out, be creative, to chase their dreams. To not just chase their dreams, but to hunt them down, right? To take proactive steps every day towards your goal, towards your dream. And if you need someone to blame for chasing your dream, now, I'm not taking responsibility for, like, if you lose all your money on the stock market. That's not what I'm talking about here. Make intelligent decisions, make calculated moves. And, you know, don't quit one job if you don't have another job. Thank you, Nekomaji. But if you need a kick in the butt to go do something, just say, Orion told me to do it. I don't know. Well, that's great, Civil. I hope that you can do something, whether it be picking up one of your old drafts, or maybe starting something new from scratch. I wish you all the best, and I hope that you're able to really chase that down in the coming week, or whenever you get around to it. Also, because I do like growing the community, if you have any friends or people that you think might enjoy my content, please feel free to send them links to my VODs, or to send them links to the Discord if you think that they would enjoy being a part of the community. Especially if you have any friends who do like creative stuff and have want to share their work. I always love seeing creative projects. What about you, Nekomaju? What have you got coming up this week? Thank you, Civil. Ooh, I remember you make those video quizzes. Hey, even if it's the usual, you're still working on stuff. And it's good that you're consistently working on stuff. That's always a great way to live life, to be consistently working on creative projects. Well, that's the hard part. That's one of the hard parts, Nekomaji. Because like when you make stuff, you want to share it, but some stuff it's okay to make just for yourself. Like it's this weird contradiction where like it's one of the great things about art is that you can share it with other people. And when you share it, it can take on a whole new life. And it can become an entirely new thing. But some stuff is very deep and personal and precious that is just made for you. Or maybe one or two other people or whoever, you know what I mean? And that's okay. It's okay to have precious, sacred, set aside things. Well, do you know about, like, there are non-copyright stuff. You can get music from like Stream Beats and other places if you want to have music in your video. I always recommend Stream Beats because they have a really great library of stuff. And they have places where you can download music so you can use that for your videos and stuff. At least I think they do. I know they did back then. I haven't checked their library in a while. Or you can get stuff from I think it's like NCS Sounds something or other. I can see that. So how do you do the quizzes? Do you make them into YouTube videos, or do you have them as like interactive documents on forum posts? Mm-hmm. You do 2 types. The other is the usual visual style where you have a few moments to think and respond before the answer is given. Ah. Okay, so you have the forum post and you have that. Okay. Oh, okay. And how do you share them to your friends? Or is that the hard part, sharing them? Oh, okay. So do you publicly post the videos or do you set them to private so that way people can only get to the videos via the link? Okay. That's really exciting, Nekomaji. Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. I practically get a heart attack every time one of my streams gets flagged and copyright claimed because um the music is technically copyrighted, but the copyright holder has given permission for the music to be used on YouTube. So it still gets, it's not like a copyright strike. And there's no actual like damage to my account. Oh my gosh, civil. Those weird noises they made. Okay. Mhm. That's interesting, Nekomaji. So I recently 222 or Love Live Nico Nico Ni. Yes, not actual words, but still iconic. Yeah. So I think I told you all about this on stream that I recently won entrance into a character creation course, and I've been working really hard on that. I think I'm gonna do some more work on that this week. I did my first assignment, and I gotta wait for that. I guess I don't know if it gets graded. Like, there's a place to turn it in on the Discord, but I'm not entirely sure how all of that works. I gotta like message someone and ask, like, do I wait for my assignment to get graded before moving on to the next chapter? Ah, interesting, Civil. Tutu-roo. I don't know. I haven't seen that anime, so I have no clue what it's from. Really, it's unique. Time-related shenanigans. Ugh. Okay, really. Sounds interesting, Civil. My number one question about any anime is, are there any giant robots? This is very important. No power armor? That's also acceptable. If there's power armor. Oh. Oh, so no armor either? Sad face. Do we have confirmation that they're working on the next Armored Core game, or is that just rumors? Because last I heard, it was just rumors that like somebody said in an interview that they would love to work on another Armored Core game. Aren't there mechs in that one thing, like I Hate Dating Sim anime? Listen, I love Magic Knight Ray Earth. I'm still partway through the second season. I like that one, Civil. I like that one. That's a wide bar, though. Between 1 and 10, that's a wide gap, Civil. Yeah, me too. I'm hopeful, and I'm hoping it comes to PC because I'm getting a gaming PC built. It's in the works. Fingers crossed. I just have to hope it survives shipping. Living life in terror, and then I gotta get a monitor. Anyway, we're coming up on 3 hours, so it's about outro time. I want to say, yeah, definitely cross fingers, Civil. Definitely cross fingers. Oh, what you got for me, Nekomaji? What you got for me? I'm curious. I'm waiting on the edge of my seat. Yeah, I remember. I've seen bits and pieces of recreators. Nairuko Crawling with Love. It's where Lovecraftian eldritch beings are cute anime characters. The main goes full Kamen Rider multiple times throughout the series along with other parodies. Ah, that's interesting. Let me make a note of that. Nyaruko Crawling with Love. Tim's Vermeer. Okay. I'm making notes of it. Okay, I made notes. I just gotta remember to look at my notes and, you know, it'll all be fine. Anyway, let's wind down here for the night. I want to say thank you to Civil, to Nekomaji, to Okusen, and to everyone else who came to tonight's stream, and to anyone who watches this VOD later. I want you all to know that you are valuable, you are precious, you are important, and that I love each and every one of you, and I believe in each and every one of you. I think that each one of you makes this world better just by being in it, and I am glad to live in a world with you in it. Thank you for giving me your time, and yes, next stream is going to be Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as long as nothing else really changes. If you want to be kept up to date with stuff, you can join the Discord or follow me on Twitter. I have links to both of those in the description below. Also, if you ever feel motivated to donate to improve my life or improve the stream, there's links where you can do that in the description below. If you do that, I would like to request that you donate to the PayPal, not to the Ko-fi, because Ko-fi does take a percentage, even if it's a small percentage, and PayPal doesn't. But yeah, let's see what else we got. I got games the next few nights. Yes, it'll be great, Civil. Also, if you want to watch anime with us, we watch anime on the Discord on Thursday nights for a little bit before I go watch Critical Role. That's usually around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. But yeah, next stream is going to be Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Always remember the motto: shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always, always, always stop to enjoy the memes. You are great, you are wonderful, and I hope that you all have a great night. Circlet. Circlet Princess. People go into an arena in special suits and generate armor and weapons for them to beat the snot out of each other. Okay, that's interesting.